Hey guys, so welcome to the Week 5 Power Rankings. We have Cadco winning and remaining undefeated. Through 5 weeks, he's 2 wins ahead of everyone else. And he had another good week. I think it's kind of scary. His team could get even better. Tom Brady's getting some weapons back, and he's only averaging 15 points a week. I would think that he would start to average more than that. And I like Katko's trade this week. He's rounding out his lineup. All he really needs is solid contributors, um, which he didn't really have at receiver after Jordy Nelson. But really, you just need some consistency. You need people that won't lay goose eggs. And his quarterbacks are going to carry the team. So he's still in a really good position, and I feel bad for anyone that still has to play him. Next is Billy. No one really stepped up into this number 2 spot. The teams that were 3-1 didn't win, so no one's at 4-1. But I really like Billy's team for the most part. I do think he has some small concerns at every position, though. While the top 3, quarterback obviously is a concern. Running back, Lacey's going to see a tough schedule coming up, and Spiller has Fred Jackson to deal with. Wide receiver Edelman has to face the return of Amendola, Gronkowski, and even Tompkins is getting more and more into his rookie season, building that chemistry with Brady. And then Marshall and Jeffrey on the same team, which is a concern. And the 49ers haven't been throwing that much, so Bolden is a slight concern as well. With Mike, even though he's 8th in points, I don't think he's that far from 5th in points. It's really tight. He has 3 top 10 quarterbacks, 2 top 10 running backs. Welker's the number 1 receiver, and then he has 4 other good ones. And Mike's team also, he still has a lot of free agent dollars that could help him at the end of the year here. So I really like Mike's team, and he has a good chance to find the 2 spot again at some point this season. Next is Basham. Not too much to say about this team. It's obviously really good aside from the quarterbacks. But the silver lining for Basham is Alex Smith has a really easy schedule coming up. So Basham could get even better than his record already shows, and he's certainly one of the front runners for that division. Next is Tony. Tony picked up a kicker and forgot to start him. And if that wasn't bad enough, he didn't realize that Matt Vay was obviously going to try and outbid him for Nick Folk on Monday. It was a really close matchup, and Tony bid $0 on the kicker he desperately needed. And Tony really needs to be 4-1 right now because he's facing a slew of injuries, which I also think this is a fault of Tony's. Were very predictable. Vic, McFadden, and Ahmad Bradshaw are 3 of the top 5 most injury-prone players in the league by reputation. This is like playing Russian roulette with 3 bullets in the chamber instead of 1. And Julio Jones is now down for the year too. So by not diversifying his risk, he really got hit harder than he needed to this week. And his team's still okay. It's good, but it's kind of muddled in with the rest of everyone instead of being elite like I had him at number 2. Moving on is Jay. It's all about Cam Newton. He had a goose egg this week, and he needs to get better if Jay's going to get into the playoffs. The rest of Jay's team is solid, so we'll see what happens there. He doesn't really have that great of a quarterback 3, so there needs to be some improvement in Cam Newton. Matt Vay might be last in points, but he did what he had to do to get the win this week. I like the move. He was 9th place and won. I think Matt Vay, though, things are looking up. I think he wants RG3, Doug Martin, MJD. They need to do better, but I think they have potential to. And then there's Amendola and Roddy White. Once they get healthier, they're going to be assets to this team. Next is myself. I've been making some trades, obviously, again. I like my acquisition of Murray, and I like that some of my players are past their bye week. To stage a big comeback like I need to, that's going to help me a lot. Next we have Nick Clark. This is a real David and Goliath matchup this week with Catco. Nick Clark has Matt Ryan and Ryan Tannehill on bye. So Geno Smith and Mike Glennon are projected for 16 points combined. Catco's quarterbacks are projected for 58 combined this week. And Tony Gonzalez is out, so that's tough for Nick Clark. It was really important he won this past week because this week's going to be really tough for him. Next is Dave. Dave had a great week. Hopefully his team's looking up. He's kind of a mix of good and bad decisions so far, and I'm out of time. Sorry.